Hello everyone. In this video today we will discuss and study about the anatomical and basic of skull. So if we took a look of skull from front and lateral views and from back views, then skull is divided into mainly four parts. Like this part is called frontal bone, this is called temporal bone, this is called parietal bone, and this is called occipital bone. So one by one we will go through it. So first of all is frontal bone. Frontal bone it's form of the region forehead and corculus in appearance, and it has mainly and majorly three parts. The ventricle parts or squamous parts, and we can see horizontal parts or orbital plates on each sides, and nasal parts. And if you talk about the anatomical position, then it has two anatomical position: orbital plate look downs and nasal spine, which is a projection from the nasal plates, projection down the forwards. And if you talk about the surfaces of frontal bone, then frontal bone has five surfaces: external surfaces or frontal surfaces, or internal surfaces or cerebral surfaces, and right and left lateral temporal surfaces, and right and left orbital surfaces. And if we talk about the surfaces deeply, then the video will go very long, so I will not discuss talk about all the points and all the landmarks in deeply. I only go through the basic of it. So first of all, if you talk about the parietal bone, then it's two in number, situated between the frontal bone in front and occipital bone behind, irregular quadrilateral in shape, and the two together form the greater part of the walls and sides of skull. And if you talk about the parts of parietal bone, then it has two surfaces: external surfaces externally and internal surfaces internally. And it has four borders: superior borders, sagittal borders, inferior borders, or we can call it as squamous border, or anterior border we also call it a frontal borders, or posterior borders we can call it also occipital borders. And if you talk about the angle of this parietal bone, then it has four angle: the anterior superior frontal angle, and anterior inferior sphenoidal angle, posterior superior occipital angle, and this is called posterior inferior mastoid angle. Anterior border which is joined to frontal bone, and these sutures are called as coronal sutures. And these sutures which are joined to occipital bone, these sutures called are lumboidal sutures. And these sutures which divided two parietal bone is called as sagittal sutures. And we can see here superior temporal line, inferior temporal line, and parietal eminence. Now if you talk about the occipital bone, then it forms the region of occipital or back of the head.